So passage-based reading. What to expect. The types of passages, they range from about 100 to 850 words, and a lot of what we're going to be doing in class is working questions together. So here you can see is an example of one of the questions. This is me just working on a question in Grockit. We have the question here, we have the information here, and we have some answer choices here. So like we said, the types of passages range from about 100 to 850 words. So it's a pretty big range. Here's a relatively shorter one. We'll see some longer ones as well. They're either short, one long, or two short and two long passages. That's just the format that they come in. SAT people, not super creative, like to keep it, you know, real engineered. The passages are not exciting. They are not meant to entertain you. They are meant to, I don't know what, but certainly not entertain you. The goal is to extract all the useful information to answer our questions, nothing more, nothing less. Do not get caught, you know, sort of reading in-depthly the passage and trying to really absorb and memorize and understand or enjoy any of it. This is a lot more like a game of Where's Waldo. I'm going to write that down. This is important. This is a game of Where's Waldo. I don't know. Do folks know Where's Waldo? Yeah. Is that too old? Not that old. So this is really a game of Where's Waldo. Forget about reading. This is not reading. This is Where's Waldo. The question will help us understand what Waldo looks like. Your job is to go in the passage, find that dude, you'll get the answer. Nice. So the passages, not exciting. Know the directions beforehand. Go ahead, you have 5 seconds to read these. So you notice how these two words are underlined. Based on what is stated or implied. You cannot bring your own prior knowledge to these. So if the passage is about dolphins and you happen to be a dolphin expert at the age of 17, firstly, congratulations, that's pretty cool. And secondly, you cannot use your massive wealth of dolphin knowledge to do better on the SAT because it's only based on what is stated or implied in the actual passage. How to read. So, like I said, it's not reading, so we got to read a little bit differently. We got to learn the Where's Waldo style of reading. So you will not be tested on every detail. Just like when you're looking at a Where's Waldo, you don't need to know every single thing that's in there. You're just looking for one thing. So focus on the relevant information first. It's called Waldo. Direct and indirect information. Every question will ask you to find or infer information that's in the passage. It has to be in there. There's another sort of way to look at it. If you're sick of hearing me talk about Where's Waldo, there's the point your finger test. If you can't point your finger to the part of the passage that is the answer, you probably haven't found the answer. Even on those main idea questions that we're going to take a look at today, the ones that are asking us to understand the whole passage, there has to be real things that we can point our finger to be able to support the answer. Because the SAT, the psychometricians, if you answered a question and then you got it wrong and you sued them and you said, I'm right, I'm sure I'm right, you're wrong, they would say, nope, I can prove to you that I'm right. The proof is in the passage. So what we're doing here is we're going to reverse engineer that. The psychometricians have to design a test where the answer is actually in there. So they've given you the question and they've actually given you the answer, both in the answer choices and in the passage. We just have to connect these pieces. So, new information that cannot be derived from the passage. Don't insert any new information. Make a quick first read. Skim the question stimulus before reading the passage, and we're going to practice this. Start with the question and then go to the passage. Then when we're working the question, we're going to do a detailed second read of that portion of the passage. So you see the passages, say here are the paragraphs. We may read it once through, the first time quickly, paying attention to the beginning and the end, and also the beginnings and ends of the paragraphs. But then, after we read the question, we're going to read it a second time through, but not this whole way. We're just going to read the portion of the passage that this question is referring to. So don't read slowly the first time, get a sense of what the whole passage is about. It's about dolphins or vampires or something. And then when we're working each question, we're going to come back in and we're going to just read the portion that we need to. Because again, the way that the test is engineered, if a question is asking about something specific in the passage, the answer has to be pretty close to it. It can't be 5 paragraphs away. So detailed second read. Define the scope. Assess what the question and passage is really saying and its purpose. Timing. Read carefully on the sections that you need. Other sections may be skimmed. So that's what we were saying. So if we have, a bunch of paragraphs in this passage, and the question is over here and it's talking about this part, we will read this in detail, but we might just skim these other sections. Find incorrect answer choices. We're really going to concentrate on that while we're working on the answer choices. We're going to hunt down the incorrect ones and eliminate those. What we're left with will be the answer. We should be able to point to it in the passage. We'll know that we're right. We'll have found Waldo and we can go to college. So, these are the different question types that appear on passage-based readings. And don't worry, these slides will all be available to you. I'll give you the URL at the end of the course. You can download them and have them for yourself while you're practicing between now and the next class. Passage-based reading question types. So there are 2 types of questions. One are interpretation questions. The second type are comprehension questions. You'll notice there are more interpretation question types. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, versus just the 3 comprehension question types. And most questions will be of this kind. So here, let me do it mathematically. Interpretation questions are greater than comprehension questions. There's more of them. They're also based in assumption and inference, as opposed to comprehension questions, which are really just about testing your your ability to find the facts. And you can understand why, these ones are pretty much absolutely stated in the passage. These ones I sort of call 1 step away, at most. It's maybe even more like half a step away. Let's do, somewhere between, interpretation questions are somewhere between 1 step and half a step away from the language in the passage. The question makes it seem as though they want you to make this big leap of logic or take 3 steps of logic away from the passage, but they never do. It's always 1 very little small step away from the passage, something you can still prove by pointing to something in the passage. So today, we're going to take a look at main idea questions, and we're going to take a look at a bunch of passages that manage these types. Then the next classes, we're going to do interpret a phrase in context questions, author's purpose, inference, author's tone or attitude, as well as these. So you can see there's a bunch of types to start into. Today though, we're going to start off slowly and start picking up steam as we go through each of the classes. So looking at main idea questions. Which of the following, the first thing we want to be able to do is to identify or ID the question. We want to be able to ID the question as the very first step. So this is the sort of language that appears in main idea questions. The SAT does not create new question types for each time they give the SAT. Every time they give it, it's these question types. It's these question types. And there's always language that we can absolutely identify the question types with. So part of our SAT robot rule is to identify the question first, and to do that we use language. So, SAT robot gets input, its language, processes it based on our things that we're going to learn of how to correlate this language to this question type. Once I know the question type, I know how to work the question, I know what to look for in the passage, I know what to look for in the answer choices, and a lot of things just start falling into place. So, main idea questions. Which of the following best characterizes the main idea of the passage? What is the primary purpose of the passage? In the second passage, the author's main concern. So when you see these words, you know you have a main idea question. This question is the same as this question, and it's the same as this question. They kind of mix up the language a little bit, so it seems like maybe, it's not really just testing the exact same thing, but it really is. There's no difference between the primary purpose or the main idea. So let's talk about some tips and strategies for main idea questions. The main idea is not always explicitly stated in the passage. It might not say, the main idea of the following essay is blah blah blah. But where can we find them? We can usually find the main ideas embodied. If we're going to look for a specific area, it'll be in the intro and in the conclusion. And often the body paragraphs will be supporting or refuting this main idea. So that's a good place to look for main ideas if we're looking quickly. The introductory and conclusion paragraphs are good places to look for clues. Don't answer the main idea question without reading the entire passage first. So if you're working some of the specific questions first, that's fine. You can just do the specific questions on that passage first. You've got them all there. It's not a computer test yet. And then you can do the main idea questions last, and you'll have read most of the passage by then. But always make sure you've read the whole passage before you're answering main idea questions. And don't infer any new information that is not directly supported by the text. And we're going to use this concept to eliminate answer choices. We're going to use this concept to eliminate answer choices. Because if there's new information in an answer choice, boom, that's gone. Let me give you my, my moldy cheese rule of answer elimination. So, you're chilling at home, you're a little bit hungry, you want to go get some cheese. I don't have orange, so I'm gonna do it in red. You see a nice block of cheese in the fridge, and you're like, I'm gonna eat me some cheese because I'm hungry. So you pick up the cheese and you notice the cheese has got a little mold kicking on it, right? Right over here. And you're like, okay, that's no problem, cheese. I'm just gonna chop off the moldy part of the cheese and I'm gonna enjoy the rest of that because I'm hungry. So the answer is bad idea. Why bad idea? Turns out that with cheese, if there's a little bit of mold that you can see, even if you can't see mold over here and you can't see mold over here, the whole cheese has been infested with this mold. So it may just be showing here, but it's everywhere. Unfortunately, my friends, you need to get rid of this whole block of cheese. And turns out, answer choices on the SAT are the exact same thing. So if you have a whole bunch of words in an answer choice, say this is an answer choice, this is, instead of points here, let's say these are our answer choices, A, B, C, D. And I'm reading this answer choice, and I'm like, the main idea is not explicitly stated in the passage, and you're like, oh, well, these words aren't really in there or supported. If you can get rid of a little part of an answer choice, if a little part of an answer choice is moldy, you can get rid of that whole answer choice. The point is that the whole answer choice has to be good, just like a block of cheese before you eat it. If it's moldy, you gotta toss it out. So we're gonna see a lot of moldy answer choices, and we're gonna get rid of that whole answer, and that's what I like to do. If an answer choice has some new information in there that's not supported by the passage, that's mold as far as I'm concerned. That whole answer choice gotta go.